gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. We here Saturday, a little late, but if you knew what I had to do to get here, be straight. And I think everything is alright. We gonna do this thing 1 o'clock tonight. It's the afternoon soon. We gonna get knowledge. We gonna do this thing, yo. We got polish and we make sure we shine like a diamond. I'm on this thing, yo. It's like a ring. The ring on my finger, it's dead ringer, but you're still alive. Yeah, I think that I survived, and I think that you're good. We're gonna talk about Generation Z. Generation Z. Generation Z. You know, there's always a generation gap between one generation to another generation, and a generation normally symbolizes somewhere between 15 and 20 years. So, the people from one generation normally point out the differences between the way they grew up and the things that they were used to, and how they used to interact with each other versus how the next generation is interacting with each other. We're at an interesting point in our lives right now. We're at the point in our lives right now where we have a variety of generations, all the way up to great grandparents, witnessing how each other are being born, technological advances. There's a really big gap, a technology gap between somebody who was born maybe in the 30s or 40s, who may still be alive today, and somebody who was born in the 2000s. And the people who were born in the 2000s can hardly relate to anything that was going on, with the baby boomer in the 30s and 40s were before baby boomers, but the baby boomers were like in the 50s or whatever, right after World War II. But, we all have to find ways to be able to get along with each other, interact with each other, communicate with each other, and work with each other. And we do that. But we have a whole lot to say about it. And one thing I hear people from my generation, which is Generation X, one thing I hear them say a lot is that they would not want to be born in this generation. They would not want to be growing up or be a teenager or anything in this generation. And I can understand it. I really can. I can understand it because it seems like the rules have changed so much. The interactions have changed so much. The social atmosphere has changed so much. The expectations have changed so much. Even just the way we do things. I never thought that I would see a time in my life where a typewriter, which was such a useful business tool for us growing up, would not be in use at all, would be totally irrelevant. You know how we see videos with young adolescents being given a rotary telephone and or a Walkman, or like a Sony Walkman or something like that, without giving them any prior training or knowledge of the device before. And we try to see if they can figure out how to use it. Well, it's sort of like that when it comes to generations of past trying to relate to generations of this current state. So that's what we're talking about today on the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. I am your host, Sun752. I think we're going to have some fun today. We'll have some fun now, just me and all the gang, learning from each other while we do our thing. Now, first of all, I don't know if y'all can hear me. We're going live, and normally there aren't any problems when I'm going live on the phone, which is what's happening right now. But let me know if y'all can't hear me, if I'm not coming through clearly, or if it sounds buffered or pixelated or whatever the flaw may be. Just let me know, because we do have the option and the the luxury of being able to just, delete the show out and start it over again. We can do that. So, but let me know. Let me know if y'all can hear me, because I'm seeing some. There aren't a lot of people here right now, but I'm seeing some strange things going on with the numbers. And sometimes when that happens, it's symbolic of people not being able to hear. But we're talking about, I'm so glad I'm sorry. I'm so glad I wasn't born into this generation. I'm so glad I wasn't born into this generation. Why would we say that? Why would we feel that way? Is it authentic? Is it fair? Is it warranted? Why wouldn't you want to be a Generation Z? Why would you want to be part of Generation Z? Shoot, you might not want to be part of being a millennial either. Every generation has its own set of circumstances, its positives, its flaws. But it seems like Generation Z gets a really bad rap for not having too much of anything good going on. And you know what I think is interesting about Generation Z? Generation Z, as far as the United States is concerned, the president of the United States is nowhere near Generation Z. The president of the United States right now is not Generation Z, is not a millennial, is not a Generation Xer. It's not even a baby boomer. Let me see. Joe Biden was born. Where's Joe? Joe is over 80 now. When was Joe Biden born?
Joe Biden was born on November 20th, 1942.
So he's a year younger than my mom. And my mom is too young, is too old to be a baby boomer. The baby boom didn't happen until after World War II. After the United States was finished with World War II, which was in 1945. So pretty much everything that happened, or everybody that was born after 1945, are the baby boomers. And not even really right after 1945. We're really talking about the children who were born in the 50s, to be honest with you. I think, let's see, the generation. Okay. What was the generation before the baby boomers called?
According to Wikipedia, the silent generation, also known as the traditionalist generation, is the Western demographic cohort following the greatest generation and preceding the baby boomers.
The greatest, okay. Oh, the greatest generation was before the silent generation. So the silent generation, and I think that's an interesting word for it, was anybody born between 1928 and 1945. That's interesting, because I remember when my dad was alive, he considered himself to be part of the baby boomers. And I'm thinking like, nah, Pops. In 1937, World War II was in full effect. The United States hadn't even entered it yet. So nope, you ain't that. So they were called the silent generation. Okay, so it does say that the baby boomers were from 1945 until I think 1960. The greatest generation. Okay. What was the generation before Generation X called?
According to Kazasa, it started with Generation X, people born between 1965 to 1980. The preceding generation was the baby boomers, born 1946 to 1964.
Wow.
Post-World War II, Americans enjoyed newfound prosperity, which resulted in a baby boom.
Well, what have we here? So it looks like my big sis is not part of Generation X. She was born in 62. Wow. So, well, we have some, we have some generation differences and gaps even within with now, okay, to be fair, we normally consider a generation to be the children of of the parents, whatever the children of the parents were. Those are the generations. So me and all of my first cousins, that we are one generation. But evidently, there's a different way. I guess in the political sense, it's a little different. It's a little different, so we have to lend respect to that too. But I did not know, and I've looked this up before, but I don't think I understood or realized that Generation X was from 65. So a lot of people who think that they're Generation Xers are not. They are not. They didn't make the cut. They didn't make the cut. And it turns out that my baby brother, who was born in 81, is not a Generation Xer either. He's a millennial. Pretty much kicked it off. Because if Generation X is from 65 to 80, it's 15 years, 65 to 80. Yeah, everybody after that are millennials. So, if you were born to parents that space their kids out a lot, you may have covered one or two, possibly even 3 generations. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. But that's what we're here to talk about today. I'm so glad I wasn't born into this generation. I'm so glad I wasn't born. I'm so glad I wasn't born into this generation. They are crazy. All right, so let's talk about it. My brother from another mother, Norris Hill. Sit back, relax, do your thing, tax and chill, max and chill. And what's up, Carol Chamberlain, me friend, me favorita. Thanks for coming on through, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all mucho. So I guess that we are able to be heard. I wasn't really sure. I wasn't sure about the audio. When we first came in, the video looks pretty good. Something crazy happened last week where I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, and my internet was acting crazy. I don't know if it was because of the rain or whatever, but it wasn't doing what I needed it to do. So we had to 86 that. We had to 86 it. But here we are, and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking off fast lane, no coasting. What do y'all appreciate or not appreciate about, I'm going to say, the millennials and Generation Z? What would you say are their finer points? What would you say are the good things? Now, I'll list some things that I think are really good about the millennials and the Generation Z generations. I think some of the advantages that they have are technology. I don't think it can be disputed that they are the front runners of technology. They know how to use a computer. They were born into that era. They weren't born into any other era. So when you think about the millennials and definitely Generation Z, but the millennials still remember what a black and white TV. Some of them, not all of them, because if you were born in like 1989, there probably weren't a whole lot of black and white TVs around. But y'all still do. I mean, they still do remember a time when there were knobs on products, when you had to load. That's the big thing that's missing. I don't know if everyone has noticed that. You don't load anything with today's technology. There's no loading. Everything is already inside. There are no records. There are no tapes. There are no CDs. There are no memory cards. There is nothing that you have to insert anymore. You barely have to, even in a video game console, you barely have to plug in the controller. You do have that option, but as you know, with like the PlayStation 5, they're trying to sell you on the all digital version, where there are no DVDs to insert. A lot of people reject that. The one that has the DVD drive is still the more popular one. But I think as far as technology is concerned, I think that's a big advantage for the millennials and the Generation Z generation. They got it. They are the ones you call when you don't know how to do something with your phone, or when you don't know how to send an email properly, or when you don't know how to copy and paste, or when you don't know how to move, when you don't know how to drag something from one place to another, whatever. So they are the word processor knowledgeable generation, which I think is interesting that they know how to do all of the things that we were learning how to do with a word processor that replaced the typewriters. What I think is interesting about that is that for what they have gained in technology about being able to put together a letter or a report, what they lost was grammar, structure, spelling. You remember when we were growing up, we weren't allowed to use a calculator in our classes for math. No way. No way. Ain't going to happen. Now these cats can use their phone. They can use a calculator. They can use a laptop. And it seems like it's easier for them, but they have made a way for it to still be pretty difficult. You know, math is math. You still add, subtract, multiply, and divide. But the way that it's being taught these days still makes it a little difficult for those who it's difficult for. So it's not just a piece of cake just because you're able to use your calculator or your phone or whatever device that you have that uses a calculator. So though that's an advantage and a disadvantage for them. I don't think it can be denied that they have the big advantage of being technologically advanced. If you know a 17-year-old, let's say anywhere from 10-year-old to 20-year-old, if they don't know how to use a computer extremely well, you're looking at them kind of funny, because that's how they learn how to do their homework. Those are the things that were introduced to them from the time that they began school. Not so for us. There may still be things that happen with the computer. I know people from Generation Z, Generation X, and definitely, baby boomers who do not know how to use a computer. They barely know how to use an email. They have an email address, and they may know how to access their email, but I've met some people who don't even know how to access their email. Like, well, where do I go to get my email? You ever heard of this thing called a browser? And what I think is interesting about that is that we are the ones who created all of this. The baby boomers and the Generation Xers, those are the ones who made today's technology easier to understand. But that's what we're working with. I never did the intro. Let's do it. Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this is the Urban Therapy with Sun show. We do this every single Saturday from 1 p.m. till around 2:30-ish. And the reason that we say 2:30-ish is because sometimes it gets so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a Saturday. And it is Saturday. This is the show where adults come out and play with other adults. We laugh, we cry, we argue, fuss, and fight, go back and forth with each other, bust it up all crazy. We take an introspective look into our own personality to see the way that the universe projects us into this thing called the world and try to figure out this thing called life. I am your host, Sun 752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the well, then you just say Omar with the R. This is the Urban Therapy with Sun show, and we're talking about I'm so glad I wasn't born into this generation. Violence. Let's talk about violence for a second. Many of our aging population believe that this generation is so much more violent than our generation was. And I often dispute this because I'm not really sure. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Is this generation, these millennials and Generation Z, are they more violent than we were when we were growing up? Off the head, I'm going to have to say no. I still haven't seen the level of violence that I saw as a teenager growing up in the 80s. I haven't seen that level of violence. I see a lot of violence now. The thing is, the reason that I see so much violence now is because we all have these little TVs, these little cameras, these video surveillance devices that can have anybody from this corner of the world to the whole other corner of the world, north, south, east, and west. They can show you what's going on in their neighborhood. We did not know anything about what was going on anywhere around the world unless we saw it on the news or unless we were there. Speaking of being there, we were there. Now, the violence that I had witnessed in the 80s was just off the charts. It just was. I witnessed it. I saw it. You know, and you can't take that stuff back. Seeing people murdered in the streets. And it was the crack era. So there was a financial incentive for everybody trying to get that money and perpetrating violence. So I don't want to say that our violence made sense because it didn't. It was senseless violence, but there was money involved. But there wasn't always money involved. We had, even though in Philly we've never had gangs, like organized gangs like the Bloods and the Crips and the Latin Kings or the Black Space. Well, we had that. Well, not in Philly, but anyway, we didn't have like the what are those Chicago the Gangster Disciples or the what's that one that I can never seem to remember? Gosh, every time I forget this thing, and I always say I'm going to remember this from now on. Gangs of Chicago. Well, what is that? The one that I'm looking for, a lot of these I don't even know about. Oh, they must. Oh, they must have them in alphabetical order. No, I don't know what they're doing here, but they're missing some of them. Anyway, Vice Lords, yeah. How are the Vice Lords missing? What? The Vice Lords. The Vice Lords. We didn't have those types of gangs in Philly. But what we did have was a bunch of neighborhoods that terrorized each other and terrorized other neighborhoods or whatever. And it wasn't always, everybody didn't sell crack. Everybody didn't use crack. But a lot of people grew up learning to fight, and fighting was the way that you got respect on the street, or you stayed out of violent situations. You know how it is. Like back in the day, there were just a few words that you had to say that would keep people from getting flipped at the mouth. Like, you can't beat me. Hey, look, you can't beat me. You can't beat me. And people knew if you knew how to hold your hands, and the boxing culture and all of that kind of stuff, it was a big deal. You had to know how to hold your shit. Offense and defense. So that's one thing that's missing from this generation, but this generation is so quick to... That's what they are so quick to do now. And it makes it seem like they're so violent. And they don't seem to have good reasons. With things going on, I don't know if y'all know anything about drill music. And drill music is those are songs, they're rap songs that gangs make that disrespect the dead, the people who have been killed from rival gangs. Like, they talk about those things in the lyrics. These things have really happened. None of the songs are, well, I ain't gonna say none of the songs, because I've heard some of the songs that was like, except for the true nature of the lyrics in the songs, not bad. But they do have some decent artists or whatever. But those, violence like that was something that was unheard of. And our generations, past generations, we never disrespected anybody's fallen loved ones. We just didn't do that. This generation does it. And they seem to respect the fact that they do it. And they're very terroristic. For the most part, family members and children and things like that were off limits. We fought against who we were supposed to fight against, even if, in the crossfire, other people got hit and stuff like that. But that wasn't, you had to be pretty ruthless to participate in something like that. These guys these days, it doesn't seem like they care about whoever they hit. Long as they hit somebody, long as they can claim a body. Nara says, I don't think that they're more violent. They have easier access to weapons, firearms in particular. I question that too. The crack era, all these machine guns going on. Remember the popularity of the Uzi, the Mac 10, the Tech 9, the AK-47. Remember, there was a good while, especially during the Clinton administration, when all of those weapons were banned. They banned those weapons. And after Bill Clinton wasn't president anymore, they brought those weapons back. So for a long time, you weren't able to buy an assault weapon or an automatic weapon. You can now. And as much as the Democrats have been trying to stop that, it doesn't seem to be going back to those times. This, and it's not the millennials or Generation Z people who are fighting for those rights, for those guns to flow freely into the population. Those are the generation. Those are the baby boomers. Mostly, those are the baby boomers fighting for that. And they winning. So one of the biggest differences between these millennials and I think millennials probably still can hold their hands, but these Generation Z cats, they can't fight. They literally can't fight. They literally can't fight. And they don't even have a problem saying that. Now, I ain't got time to be fighting you. You know what I mean? You do this, that, and the third to me, and I'm just going to eliminate you. I'm just going to take you up out of here. This will do the fighting. This will do all the fighting I need. And they mean it. So they're violent in that way, but so are we. So are we. Yeah, the crack era just had so much more to fight about, literally. Whereas this generation is more susceptible to, different strains of weed and opioids. So it's a little different. The crack era isn't as popular as it used to be. So we don't have violence over that to the level that we had before. So I don't know if this generation is more violent. But one thing I do have to say about this generation, aside from violence, is that they are definitely more expressive negatively. They're definitely more negatively expressive than our generations were. Like this generation just doesn't seem to have any appreciation or desire for discretion. They want you to know what they did, how they feel, what was said, who was there. They want everything to be out here, right here on social media. There's no secrecy. There's no privacy. And really, that's hard for me to believe because everybody has something that they have done that they, would rather people not know about. But it's harder to tell with this generation because everywhere they go, it's a camera, it's a video. They're uploading it. Somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to see it. They tape conversations. We didn't have the technology to do that. They take conversations in this generation. And they don't feel no kind of way about it. Can I get an amen? A cosign? An agreement? A thumbs up? A hell yeah? A here? A damn right something. This generation, they want you to see. They want you to see. It almost seems like they don't want anything to not be seen. I'm a Generation Xer. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about in the view of what the Generation Z population may consider. But it just seems to me, even at work, when I manage these younger cats, I'm like, if they ask me for something and it's of a private nature, I'm like, yo, why would you ask me that out in front of all of these people? Like, I have an office. I've had them actually ask to speak to me privately, but then but they spoke to me publicly. It's weird. Weird to me. They just don't seem to care about privacy or respect privacy. Am I wrong? Am I off? I mean, I can't be wrong about my own experiences, but maybe my experiences are not representative of a lot of people's experiences. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, they want everybody to know. Very private things that are going on with them physically, things that are happening with them, in their families, things of a private nature, sensitive material. They put it right on out there. Right on out there. And I don't know when the last time somebody asked you something that made you uncomfortable. And it wasn't even about you. When was the last time somebody asked you something about themselves or their situation that made you uncomfortable? Well, mine wasn't that long ago. I think it was this week. So, yeah, our generation kept things on the low. Don't nobody need to know. It ain't nobody's business. That's one thing that's pretty consistent about anybody born in the 1900s. Mind your business. It ain't none of your business. What do you have to do with it? Especially family business. Now, you don't know what's going. Listen, there might be abuse, incest, all kinds of stuff. And I'm not saying that those things should be swept under the rug. But in this generation, you will know about all of those things. And our generation, you had to find out by being there. It wasn't going to be easy for you to find out no other way. You had to be there. Seconds. You had to be there. You had to be there for the most part. I'm not saying that nobody told. We've had, whistleblowers in every situation, in every generation. But yeah. So what about it? Yeah, the privacy aspect of it is something that I wouldn't want to be a part of. Now I'm going to talk about this controversial part, and some people may agree with it, some people may not agree with it, but I don't agree. One of the reasons I wouldn't want to be part of this generation is the whole liberal part of it. Like anything seems to go with this generation. They don't have any rules. They don't have any restrictions. They don't have any outliers, any outcasts. They don't have any. It's like one big club. So I guess that's the easiest way that I could say that I wouldn't want to be part of this generation because of all of the gay stuff that goes on in this generation, the acceptance of all of the gay stuff. Now, the whole LGBTQ agenda is not exclusive to just Generation Z or millennials, but they were raised inside of it. They were raised with it. They were raised to believe that it's okay. And maybe it is okay on a certain level. But the thing is, they weren't raised with a choice. They were not raised with, let me put it this way. We were raised to believe that the straight way was the natural way and the best way. I'm not sure if they get it that way with the millennials and the Generation Z generation. I don't. Being straight is not valued and praised the way that it used to be. Not with this generation. With this generation, we see or really believe that there will be probably a gay president, or at the very least, vice president. Now remember the past election, the 2020 election. What was the gay dude's name from, what was he from? Indiana. He had a husband. Had he got elected, it would have been the president and the first man. His name started with a G. And y'all have to excuse me. My memory ain't been doing what it's supposed to do lately, but we still here. What was his name? He was what? I think he was a mayor or something of his city or something like that. Anyway, what up, Stacy White? Thanks for coming on through. Appreciate me some you. But yeah, this generation is highly, highly influenced by the LGBTQ. Highly influenced. We were not. We were not influenced by them. We got there. We are there, but that's not what they pushed. That's definitely not what they pushed or presented in our schools, churches, clubs, organizations. That's just not what that's not the agenda that they pushed. All of those, they were there. They were there. They were there and are there and will be there, but they didn't force that on us. They forced being straight on us. I was okay with that. Still am. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons I wouldn't want to be part of this generation. Like, man, I ain't going for this. But who knows if I was born into this generation, maybe I would take that liberal point of view too. Buttigieg. That's his name. Thank you. You know, I was not going to come up with that. I said his name started with a G. No. Maybe I just remembered that it had the G sound in it. Buttigieg, or however it's spelled. But booty was all in it. Hold on, man. I saw my device do something interesting. It did something interesting. Very interesting. No, you know, I better use this one. I better. But yeah. So yeah, this generation has, you know, those types of social issues that we have to deal with. And I ain't with all that. I ain't with all of that. Listen, I believe in living and let living, but I don't believe in something being forced down our throat and being told to us that no, we are exactly the same or we are no. So I wouldn't want to be a part of this generation as far as that's concerned. Call it my prejudices, call it whatever you want. At least in my generation, we had clearly drawn lines and clearly differences as far as choices were concerned. We did not have to be what somebody told us that we had to be politically. That's just not how it went down. So that's one of the reasons that, yeah, I'm good not being part of this generation. I'm good. Y'all got all of that. My baby girl, my daughter, born in 2006, will be 18 on this Thursday coming up. 18. She is 100% Generation Z. 100% Generation Z. And I feel for her. She doesn't know, you know, the big differences between what's going on in her world versus what was going on with ours. But, you know, let me tell y'all something, man. They sent me Yanni's acceptance letter to St. John's University. You know, I'm DMC from the place to be. I go to St. John's University, and from kindergarten I've acquired the knowledge. And after 12th grade, I went straight to college. I'm like, well, she got accepted to St. John's University, and you know, they're giving her money, you know, scholarship money and all of that kind of stuff. And whether she chooses to go there or not, it's up to her. but the cost that it would naturally cost in order for her to go to St. John's would be such a hardship on me and her mother to send her there. And I'm not saying that she's going to go there. It's an option for her. It's an option. She will receive money, and she's already been accepted. And matter of fact, I can read to y'all what the acceptance letter said, because this is a proud moment for the God. What it had said was, Dear Ayana, congratulations. On behalf of the admission committee, I am pleased to inform you of your acceptance to St. John's University. Or maybe if I put it this way. All right, yeah. To St. John's University for the fall 2024 semester. You are accepted to the biology program on the Queens campus. We are impressed with all that you have accomplished, and we look forward to your future success at St. John's. You've earned $32,000 in combined merit scholarship awards and grants, and renewable for up to 4 years of continuous undergraduate study, with a total value of up to $128,000. Please note that these awards are contingent upon meeting all renewability requirements. If you choose to live in university housing on the Queens campus, you will receive an additional $2,500 Explore New York grant. To reserve your spot at St. John's University for fall 24, please submit a $300 non-refundable enrollment deposit no later than May 1st, 2024. Further details regarding your admissions, scholarship, and awards are listed on the enclosed acceptance information sheet. Please also refer to the welcome booklet for additional enrollment information, as well as a glimpse into your future as a St. John's student. Ayana, you are about to become part of a dynamic and inclusive community. Okay. Your academic and personal journey will offer you opportunities to explore new horizons, uncover your passions, and mold the professional you aspire to be at St. John's. And you'll receive guidance from our dedicated faculty, cultivate lifelong relationships, and benefit from New York City's cultural diversity and intellectual and artistic resources. Whether cheering in the red zone at Madison Square Garden, helping underserved community, or studying at our Rome and Paris locations, you will be an integral part of the St. John's tradition of school spirit and become part of a legacy that spans over a century. So, $32,000 would have gotten me through 100% of my schooling at Penn State when I went, with plenty left over. Now, St. John's is a private school. St. John's is a private school, so you know private schools are always more expensive. And it is in state for her, so you know that reduced some of the cost. But the thing is, you know, with them giving that much money and to still have to pay some more money after that, yeah, man, education. Nobody said that education was a scam or college was a scam when we were growing up. It was something that not everybody did, but everybody appreciated it, and everybody, you know, saw the benefit and value of it. Nowadays, everything is about the money. Well, how are you going to pay back the student loans with this little job that you're getting? Well, just like our parents had to make a way, we have to make a way also. She doing her thing. and biology major. She getting it in. All right, Norcel says, live and let live is one thing. Population control tactics are another. And thanks for the congratulations. Word up. But yeah, I wouldn't want to have to, have the burden of trying to pay for college in today's generation, in today's market. Man, even the online classes are too much. For a little while, everybody was doing their classes online, getting their degrees online because it was so much cheaper. Yeah, well, you know how that goes. When everybody is doing it, then they find a way to inch up the cost of that too. And they have. That's why you don't hear that many people talking about taking online classes like you used to. Like, just if you scale back the clock 10 years ago, everybody was going to University of Phoenix and things like that. Because it was cheaper. It was cheaper and it was easier. Even faster. Now they like, shit, I might as well go in the classroom. With how much it's costing, I'm going in. Shout out to all of y'all returning students, y'all adults who have gone back to get your degrees after so many years or whatever. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. No, I said, as financially literate as I was, I knew I didn't want to go into further debt than what I had and was delinquent on. But we were able to get so many grants. So if you had good grades back in the day when we was in school, you could get a free ride easily and get money back. We was living off of those refunds, man. We was living off of those refunds. That was like the tax break. That was like the tax refund. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, I got my tuition reimbursement. Yo, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I had so much money my senior year. My refund, I went out and bought like a stereo system, a chain, big fat herringbone. I went and bought. What else? Sneakers and all of that. That around that time, that was when those HBCU sweatshirts was out. Everybody, yeah. Carl Kanai and shit, But anyway. We were able to pay for our education without hurting ourselves. We got jobs that allowed us to be able to pay for the money that we spent going to school. So we were really prepared for the future. Today, I don't know if we are prepared for the future. This generation doesn't have the skills that we had. When we grew up, we had our ancestors. We had our elders. They taught us how to do things. They took us to work with them. They showed us how to do electrical work. We had to carry shit. We had to learn how to mix up some cement. We had to learn how to, you scared of heights? I don't know what you're going to do because you climbing up that ladder to get on that roof. And while you at it, you're going to get strong, lifting up, carrying up 90 weight of roofing paper and the what they call the muck, you call it stuff in the cans. I mean, all my contractor terms are slipping me right now. I'm on the tip of my tongue is joint compound, but no, that's for the walls. Roof cement. Roofing cement. Yeah, you carrying up this roof cement and this 90 weight paper. Yeah, I know you only weigh 130 pounds, so get it up, hump that stuff up to that roof. And they showed us how to fix a roof, and they showed us how to patch some walls, and they showed us how to do some plumbing. Yeah, you have to know how to put a toilet in. You gotta know how to change a washer. You can't have all your faucets around here leaking and all that kind of stuff. Our elders showed us how to do some shit. We had to be good for something. You couldn't just sit around the house, watching cartoons all day, eating up all the food, bullshitting. Somebody was going to take you to work with them. Or if you was home, they was going to make you do some work at home. How about this landscaping? Yeah, we're going to get your front yard together and the backyard. You help it. I don't know if you want to wear them good sneaks today. Because we about to go get some mulch and some, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we had trade skills. We had trade schools that we went to. High school, Votech high schools. We still have those, but they aren't as valued and as plentiful as they were before. Not only that, you didn't have to go to a Votech high school before. They had shops, trades right there in any neighborhood high school. You could learn how to go to work, and we did. It says we were taught how to get it from the mud. Literally. Because I've heard roof cement be called mud. We need some more mud. And roofing tape. Yeah, you about to climb up this 40-foot ladder. Like what? Yeah, you scared of heights, don't look down. But you going up there. Crying and all of that shit. You going up there. Nowadays, this generation, we just let the kids be kids. We had the after school job. We already knew the value of $1. You want shell top Adidas, some top 10s? You want some Nike Airs? You want a pair of Felines? You want a new sweatsuit? Oh yeah? Well, your mom might not be willing to pay for all of that. So you better go around to the local store, see if they need any help carrying some boxes, loading some stock. Fast food, always a go-to. Yeah, you work at Burger King after school. You work at McDonald's after school. You work at Wendy's after school. You work at KFC after school. You work at whatever. I don't get Roy Rogers, Arby's, whatever. You had your little after school job. That we came from the generation of not just the after school job, but the job. The job was the way you knew you were going to be able to take care of your family. You want to be a teenage mother, teenage father, you up there freaking? Well, guess what you got to do? Because, yeah, ain't nobody going to let you just collect food stamps and be on welfare 15, 16 years old. No. First of all, you're going to finish school. You might even have to go to college. We'll watch the baby while you away, or, if you go locally or whatever. We'll get it together. But no, you're not going to be a failure just because you was a freak. I'm not saying that all teenagers who got pregnant were freaks. But a lot of them were. So, you had to pay for your freakiness. This generation, they don't even have no babies. Teenage pregnancy is low. It's low. They done something to them babies. I don't care what nobody say, man. They done something. They done vaccinated them kids sterile and all of that. They ain't have no baby. Them dudes shooting that sickle cell sperm. Them sperms ain't swimming right. They backstroking and looking for a life preserver or something like that. They ain't like that. And I'm not promoting no teenage pregnancy, but that's something that our generation had to deal with. That's something our generation had to deal with. You ain't gonna tell me that you made it from kindergarten to 12th grade without having one friend, classmate, or somebody who had a baby. That's something we had to deal with, and we dealt with it a lot. We dealt with it a lot. Mocha money bags, isn't that mocha money? What have we here? Oh shit, Mocha, that's how I got my start. You know what I'm saying? The Real Talk with Mocha show. She says, I worked at Dairy Queen, Boston store, a clothing store, and Blue Cross, Blue Shield at the same time, just to keep up. You wanted new clothes, you wanted to buy records, tapes. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to go to this show, you want to go to the Def Jam tour, something like that. Yeah. Your mom might pay for, 2, 3, or 4 events or something like that. But you wasn't going to put her on that payment schedule. As a teenager, we wanted something all the time. Can you imagine if we had expensive cell phones back then? We'd have been done. Instead, we had Walkmans and CD players and even Sony Watchmans, and we was on the come up, but the stuff was expensive. Polo was just as expensive back then as it is now. Gucci just as expensive back then as it is now. I think it was cheaper back when we was buying. But anyway, this generation has to deal with, and I ain't gonna front. When I be watching these videos of these cats, they be having these stacks of money. I be like, where y'all get this money from? Like, doing what? Like, we knew we was selling the crack. What are y'all doing? I mean, I know a lot of people smoke weed, but weed money ain't not like coke money. But I guess they made some adjustments. I don't know, son. They got dispensaries and shit. We had to smoke. Before we got introduced to blunts, we was smoking joints, and it was on the low. And we didn't even know what the good weed was. It's different. It's different these days. Mocha said, moms gave us $50 for school clothes. That's it. And you better make them jeans and that shirt. That first day of school, well, you lucky she ain't make you buy these school supplies along with it. You know what I mean? Like, you gonna have to get your loose leaf, your trapper keeper, and all of that with the same money. Make it happen. This is the world we live in. Oh, Mocha says these kids are electronic scamming, and they got OnlyFans. They making money off being the algorithm on the internet. We ain't had no Instagram models. Shoot, we had the only celebrities that we knew of was celebrities. You know what I mean? It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Heavy D, Salt and Pepper, and Limousine. You want to get ready to get on up out of here, man. You want to have me going way back. But this generation is different. This generation has a lot of differences than we had. Now, some of the differences we can appreciate, because Moki, I don't know if you were listening earlier, but we were talking about how much more technologically advanced this generation is versus our generation. Like, they know how to use a computer. Anything internet based, they know how to do it. They were raised in that, on that, with that. Some of us some of us, Generation X's and all of that, we still trying to catch up. Some of us, so a lot of us are good because we did actually, develop the technology, but many of us missed it because we were able to get along without it. This generation can't get along without it. They have to have it. I mean, we were talking about earlier how they don't have to load anything. You know how they be like such and such is loading. They talk about online. We loaded a record onto a record player with the needle. We loaded a tape into the tape player. I don't care if you talking about cassette or 8 tracks. We loaded a CD into the CD slot. This generation has no load. They took away the load. They took away the buttons. Ain't no buttons. Ain't no buttons. They got volume up, volume down, and the on and off button. That's it. That's it. So the millennials still had a taste of button life and loading life. Mocha says, for everything they gained, so much is lost. That's what I'm saying. I think that every generation experiences this, though.
90 seconds.
Every generation has their pluses and their minuses. So, like I said, I wouldn't want to grow up in this generation. But people were probably saying that when we were, listening to rap music all crazy and, buying bombers and sheepskins and a bunch of gold jewelry. There's always going to be a
60
generation.
seconds.
She says, common sense, telling time, using scissors, cursive, social skills. I'll keep a 70. I'll keep being a 70. Yeah. Telling time. Telling time. Shout out to the Movado watch with no numbers. We had to know where it was. Writing checks. We had to know how to do that. Oh man, Thomas Edison would think we're super lazy. We are, and it's getting worse. It really is. It's getting worse, and there ain't no way out because we're not going back. This generation doesn't know how to spell. How do you not know how to spell and don't know how to write your name? Sign your name. There are plenty of Generation Z people who absolutely cannot write cursive at all. So they can't sign. But I guess since everything you sign online for everything, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Let's get on up out of here. Listen, let's do these birthday shout outs. And then we gonna holla back. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious January 13th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special because they are special because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box. Randall Noah turning 61 years old today, and Selena Smart turning 39 years old today, and Shadia Hopper turning 46 years old today, and DJ Osiran, happy birthday to you. And last but not least, my girl that used to live right up the street from me. We went to school together. My girl Tina Dent turning 53 years old today. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious January 13th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, the rock out. Rock on it, do the damn, rock out. Rock on it, do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man, listen, your generation is your generation. You know, there's this song by The Who, you know, the rock group called The Who, and it's called My Generation. I love the song. And it's funny how he's talking about how his generation, how wild they were, and how they were looked down upon, you know, by the elders. And, you know, these songs were made in the 60s. These songs were made in the 60s. And one thing he says on those songs, he says, I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation. And I'm like, hope he dies before he get old. Well, he didn't. Except for Keith Moon. They all got old. And they watched another generation pass them. So, but every generation has their pride, you know. It is what it is, but we still have to communicate and connect with all the generations coming forward because we have to teach them. We have to show them. And we are responsible for a lot of the things that they do and what they know, whether we accept that responsibility or not. But in our resistance to accept the responsibility for what the next generation does, that means it outlaws the flaws in our own generation because it shows that we haven't taken any accountability. We got to do that. All right, y'all. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another Urban Therapy with Sun show. So y'all get back. I holla back. So Blog Talk, we gonna get you out of here. Yeah. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. And I holla. All right, so we're just gonna say peace.